So I want to make this video because I noticed a lot of people posting pictures of the aftermath of their accidents, you know, the sort of gore shots. And it was kind of apparent that a lot of people, especially the younger people, didn't really know quite how they should be taking care of themselves and how to bandage themselves up right so that they'd heal properly and avoid complications like infections and stuff. So I wanted to make this available and put out there, and I had to wait for myself to I had to wait until I had an accident myself, and I finally did. So that's what I've been doing for the past 5 weeks. So this video has some gore in it and some raw footage, especially early on. So if you're cringy, you might want to skip over that. It's also a very long video. It's over an hour. So I didn't want to break it up into multiple segments because I wanted to be able to, you know, you're able to find the one video and you are instantly able to find all of them, because sometimes YouTube makes it hard to find the next video in a series. So to compensate for that, I'm going to have links in the description to help you jump around easier. So if you're just watching this for entertainment, I don't expect you to watch the whole thing, but if you're being entertained by it, hopefully the links will help you jump around and skip the parts that are getting boring to you. So anyway, I hope you enjoy, and I hope this is useful. So without any further delay, I'd like to get started and enjoy the video. Okay, so I had a bit of an accident tonight. I fell on my hand and my arm and a few other places. But I wanted to do a video about how to clean up a road rash when you fall down. So I mostly have it cleaned up already. I'll have some pictures of what it looked like before. But what I'm doing right now is, if you look really carefully at it, you'll see that there is still some dirt around the outside that I have to get rid of. Unfortunately, this has got like road tar and crap all over it. So one of the things I have to do is actually cut away whatever dead skin I can, which is covering the areas with dirt on them. These scissors are a little big. I've gotten most of it already, like I said. But yeah, so but it's really important. The most important thing is to make sure you get it clean. And so I'm using a toothbrush to scrub. Also got a washcloth and some hand soap right here. And I'm just going to make sure I get all that dirt off. Because that dirt is what will get you an infection. It can get stuck in your skin as it's trying to heal back, and it's just generally going to cause a lot more trouble than you want. And even though it hurts like crap, you've got to get it cleaned up. So I've been going at this for a while here, just trying to get it cleaned up. So that's, yeah, like I said, it's like road tar. And it does not want to come off very easily at all. Thankfully, it's mostly callus that I scraped away. But still. So yeah, so coming away, I've got this right there. There's some skin that I'm having a lot of trouble getting rid of. It's covering a nice dirty spot. I don't know if I'll be able to get it. I need smaller scissors. I guess I'll just use the toothbrush. I've got a brand new toothbrush that I opened up for this too. because otherwise you'll get gingivitis in your hand. So I'll just angle the brush to get it under there. When I started, after I cut away all the dead skin, this whole area was black from tar. So, okay. Clean that one up, clean that up. I think I'm about good. These ones on my arm are unfortunately pretty deep too. And not callous like my hand. Alright, so I think it's about as good as it's going to get for cleaning it up. Been cleaning it for about 20 minutes. And there's still a little back in there. But it's mostly, I think, just tar. There's no sand or anything like that in there. So now I've actually just got to dress it and put some neosporin on it and stuff. So let me show you the idea for that. Okay. Right. Alright, so I'm just going to focus on my palm because that's easiest to film, whereas my elbow is a lot harder to film, even though it's probably a better one to make an example of. So I've got to do is just dry it off so that bandages will stick to it, and so I've got just a brand new, perfectly clean towel, and that's good. And so I've got my bandage kit and some neosporin, or Walmart neosporin. And so the main thing you want to do, especially for the first couple days, is keep it moist so it doesn't dry out. You do not want it to dry out. So I'm just going to load that up on there, make sure it gets everywhere, and I'll get all my other cuts too. And I'm going to get this largest bandage. If I can open it with my my thumbs are cut up too, so I can't open it. Oh, come on. So helpless without my thumbs. Okay. There we go. Come on. Got it. Okay. Perfect. And you all know how to put a bandage on, I'm sure. So I'm gonna figure out where's. I move my hand probably across here. It's gonna work the best. So I'll do that. And that's just to keep it moist. You don't want to let it dry out. Eventually I'm gonna put on a different type of bandage that'll hold in moisture, but you do not want to do that right away because it's going to weep a lot, and weep means it's going to release a lot of fluid. So if I was to put like a Tegederm bandage on right now, it would just fill up with fluid, and I'd have to change it right away. And the fluid's going to help wash out any of the little stuff that you missed cleaning it up. But I cleaned it pretty good. So I bandaged up my palms and my hands, so they're all good. But I wasn't able to get this because I didn't have any bandages for it. So I had to grab and pick up a bandage kit. This is gauze and stuff. And during that time, you can see it's been dripping. So that's weeping. And so that's like cellular fluid, plasma from your blood coming through and making it really wet. And so, yeah, for the first 72 hours or so, it's going to weep a lot. And so that's why you can't use Tegederm, which is this stuff. And this stuff is really good, but it's really expensive, so you don't want to waste it initially when it's weeping, because you're going to have to change it too frequently for it to be worth it. So you want to put on the Tegederm when you'll be able to keep it on for a couple days at a time. So let's open this up and see what I've got here. So I'm just going to use these gauze pads from this kit and stick them everywhere I've got this sore. So let me open this up. Tear here. It just has two. Oh, I see what it means. It means do that. Let's see how big these are. That's probably the right size. One right there. One right there. Ooh. And I think that levels might be fine. Where's the tape? I've got some tape here. And so I've just got to find a place to tape it down so to stay. Luckily, so this is important. So if it's somewhere, so if I'd gotten a scrape on my leg, like right here, I would also have to have shaved the whole area so that the tape can stick down. But luckily, I don't have very much hair where I got scraped up. It's good. And that one's do something else about that one. And let's stick this other gauze pad right here. Ah, perfect. So this is just mostly for tonight, so I'm not worried about holding it down too much. There we go. I just said something so I can go to bed and not have the neosporin rub off and stuff. Perfect. So then what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to put a long sleeve shirt on, and that's going to hold down these pads a little bit more. And in the morning, I'll change them out probably and put it on a little bit better. Yeah, as I said, I just want to get to bed. It was 11 o'clock when I got my accident, and it's now almost 1 o'clock. So there we go. Alright, so there we go. There, I've got my long sleeve shirt on, and that's going to hold it down. Hold down the fort until morning, and then see what I have to do then. So till then. So it's morning, so I've got to change these bandages before they start to get dry and start to stick too much. So let's take it off. That one's fine, okay. So you can see the yellow is plasma that weeps out. So I'm thinking I've got to do it better than I did it last night, so I think I'm just going to use a giant gauze pad to cover up the whole elbow here. Maybe like that. And then I can just wrap it with the cloth. But I've got to make sure, of course, that it stays moist. Doesn't dry out. So there's plenty of neosporin again. Anywhere where it's scraped up. So you just want to make sure it stays moist. There you go. And then let's put in the very elbow right there. So you might go through a bit of bandages. That's fine. Bandages are not expensive, really. I mean, not compared. I mean, if you go to like the hospital and they have them fix you up, they're going to use a ton of bandages and they're going to charge you a lot for them. So better to use a ton of bandages on your own. There you go. Okay, that's fine. Just use all that up. And actually that's enough. I don't need any more than that. And save that for later. And I'll use the tape to hold the end on. And that'll be good. That's going to be nice. Perfect. So there's that. That's the elbow taken care of. And even places where the gauze didn't cover it, I've now got the bandage covering it up. And that should be quite good. But I've also got to change the bandage on my palms. My fingers should be fine. They're just smaller cuts, but these ones are still pretty deep. And I do not want these to get stuck either. Yeah, so that one's nice and slimy, which is what you want. You want to stay nice and wet like that. But you don't want the slime to start going bad on you. So you change the bandage and put fresh neosporin on it. It's just sliding off. Okay. That. I can use my fingers better today. And this one isn't quite as deep as the other one. It's not quite as big. But I'm sure it's got some ooze on it too. Yeah. Cover the whole thing. That's the whole sore. There we go. Freshly bandaged again. And this tape is not going to hold, so I'll have to figure something else out. But that's good. I don't know how long I'm going to keep these bandages on. I'm probably going to do another gauze wrap and change the bandages 1 or 2 more times before I move on to the Tegederm bandages, which are the expensive ones, which are actually quite nice. So, there we go. That's the end of the morning of the first day. Alright, so it's evening, so I've got to take the bandage off and redress it. So let's take a look at it. You can see it's been weeping still and has gotten through the entire gauze pad. It's stuck here. I have to be careful I don't tear anything open. So you can start to see some of the areas that are damaged a little better. This whole spot right here of just surface level road rash. These cuts, which are deep, which are the ones that are weeping. This one is not as deep, so these ones are the ones that are weeping the most. And then I've got this on my hand, which is looking a lot better. And I got this one here, which is looking a ton better. This is started to weep less already. So what I've got to do is, before I dress them up again, I'm going to have to clean them all off, and the easiest way to do that is to take a shower. The other thing is, you can either clean them off between dressings. Contact solution, it makes a good wash. It's sterilized and it's got sterilizing agents in it, so it's pretty good. It's just as a rinse, it's really nice. So I've got to wash everything off again before I redress it again for tonight. All right, so I've washed everything off and cleaned it up again. So it's basically the same routine as the first night when I got the cut, except for this time I'm not worried about scrubbing to get grit and debris out. I'm just trying to make sure it's clean, so I'm being a lot more gentle and trying not to damage anything that has healed since. So I'm just going to basically do all the same thing I did this morning. Put all new bandages on. I'm being a lot more careful this time about keeping everything clean as well. Okay. And I feel like this almost is unnecessary. You all know how to put on bandages, hopefully. But I'm going to be extra careful too this time to make sure I have enough neosporin to keep the bandages from sticking, which is something it was doing on my arm. So that gauze is able to take up a lot of fluid and stuff. It also means it can absorb a lot of the neosporin as well. There you go. I'm going to need to pick up more of these big bandages too. I'm not... they don't come with very much of them, which is kind of ironic, because if you have something that's big enough to need a big bandage, you're probably going to need to change that bandage more often than you're going to need to change a small bandage. There we go. Sweet, so now I can work with my hands. I've got to redo my thumb. You can see my thumb got crushed in pretty good. It's all white and pale. So I've got to take care of that as well. That'll be very simple. Before I had a nice big wraparound bandage on that, but I think now that it's closed up a little more, just a normal band-aid will be fine. It's a bit much there. And my hand. Okay. So one thing about keeping it moist is that it hurts a lot less. So just having the bandage off for just a few minutes, it starts to dry out and crust. And when it starts to get dry, it starts to hurt a lot. And I'm holding my arm in the same position because otherwise it hurts to move it because it's stretching the dried skin. And when it's got the bandage on it and when it's kept wet, I can actually move it with much less problems. So, moving on to my arm here, I'm just going to put just a ton on that, a ton on there, just a little on my elbow, and a ton on these scrapes, because these scrapes, it's just, they don't need to keep the scrapes don't need to be kept as moist, but they seem to be sticking to the gauze a lot easier. And I can use a lot of neosporin because, well, it's the generic brand, so it's not expensive to use a lot. So I might as well use enough. So I'm going to do one gauze pad here, and I'm going to do another. I'm going to go with 2 this time, instead of just one trying to cover up, because I want to cover up the entire scrape here, which it wasn't doing before. I was covering just the worst part of it. And that there. Nice. And then, of course, I've got the roll, which does not want to open. This is just falling down now. Stay on there. And roll. I'll do it from this direction. I dropped it again. No big deal. This part isn't actually touching much of anything, so that's fine. There we go. So, lots of gauze, lots of neosporin. So if I had just left this open and kept it dry, it would have formed a nice scab by now, but it actually wouldn't have had much chance to do any healing, because what would happen is all that fluid, I'm just making a nice big old chunky thing here. Okay. There we go, like that. There we go. So yeah, so if I let it dry out, that weeping stuff and the blood that's just been coming out would have formed a nice big scab, and then the scab is not flexible, so every time I move, it'll hurt a lot more, and it will keep it from healing as much. So by keeping it moist, I've actually had it start healing quite a bit. So maybe by tomorrow I can stop using the gauze and wrap and move on to this better stuff, the Tegederm. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm using this gauze and the wrap while it's weeping still, and once it stops, I can use a different kind of bandage. All right, so it's evening of the second day, so it's been about 44 hours since I crashed, and I think it's finally time to start using the Tegederm bandages and stop doing the gauze wrap. So I've determined that because it has stopped seeping through the gauze. It's not weeping nearly as much as it was before, and that's important because the Tegederm, if you look on the package here, is actually it's a waterproof barrier. So that means fluids can't get out. So if you put it on while your wound is still making a lot of fluids, it's just going to fill up like a blister, and then it's just going to come off really quick. And you also don't want to put it on too early, because if you put it on too early and you start developing an infection, the Tegederm can make it worse. So the idea is to carry with it with gauze and lots of neosporin to make sure that there's no infection that develops before you move on to the Tegederm. Also, this stuff is more expensive, so you don't want to waste it while you're changing the bandages a lot. So, in order to prepare for the Tegederm, what you want to do is you want to make sure you don't have any hair anywhere. So I've actually shaved everything, and that's mostly to make sure that Tegederm will stick really well. You also want to make sure everything's really clean, really sterile. And so for that, I'm going to be wiping everything down with rubbing alcohol. And this is kind of for two reasons. One is to sterilize it, and one is, again, to help make the bandage stick. So I'm going to pay special attention to the area around where I'm actually gluing it, and I'm actually not going to be trying to rub directly on the sores. I might just do some light dabbing because it kills. And so yeah, so the rubbing alcohol will help a lot to make it stick. It'll help a lot to make sure your hands that you're going to be working with are sterilized as well, because you really, really, really do not want to trap anything underneath these bandages. So this time I'm just going to use the tiniest amount of neosporin, because it's not needed to keep things moist anymore. The Tegederm is going to keep things moist. Now it's just going to be used as antibiotic? Yeah, antibiotic. We're just using it as an antibiotic now. So we don't need nearly as much. So just the tiniest bit. So, and you also don't want the neosporin to interfere with the bandage sticking. So I'm making sure I get that off my hands really well too. So the most important ones are this one and this one, which are the deepest. This one is it can actually heal all right without the Tegederm. It'll just be more uncomfortable. So I'm gonna focus on the other ones. See the package. You can see it there. So with the Tegederm, it has this tab, but right next to the tab it's got the bandage. So it just has this thing to hold, kind of the frame to hold it. And so line it up, stick it down, like that. And then there we go. Then the backing actually comes off the top. So it's really thin and really flexible. So it's actually going to be very comfortable to wear. And it just covers the sore like that. So there's one of them down. So hopefully, I'm guessing the first application of this bandage will last maybe about 3 days. And then it might get filled with a little more fluid because it is still weeping a little bit. Or it might just be that it gets rubbed off from my shirts or something like that. But the second bandage, I'm guessing, is going to last a little longer. But I count on about 3 days for the first bandage. So here's the second one. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Ooh, it pulled up a little there. Okay, there's the second one. It's just covered. Last one. So this whole box was about $7 and only has 8 bandages in it. So each one of these is the better part of $1, but they sure do work great. I'm not totally out of focus, am I? That sucks, I'm out of frame. So this last one, I'm going to keep my arm straight out. I'm going to put it down right here. Oh, perfect. Okay. There we go. And that is the Tegederm bandages. So, it's already crinkling on my elbow a little bit, but I don't know what we can do about that. So that'll hold in the fluid, and it'll start getting really white because it'll start being really wet in there. I might wrap it up with gauze just to help keep me from rubbing it with stuff, and just to help keep holding it on. But I'm not going to have these big gauze pads anymore. So, and then I'm not going to do that on my palms yet because these Band-Aids are actually doing a good job of covering the whole wound and keeping them moist still. You can see it's very moist still. So it's wrapped up again, and it may seem like I'm making a really big deal out of just a couple small cuts, but the thing is, I'm trying to make them heal really fast. And it looks like I'm going around with a big sore, with this bandage over it. Might seem like I'm overplaying it or something like that. But no, I just want to take care of it so it heals right and heals fast, doesn't get infected. And if you do all that, it'll cause you a lot less problems, even though you're doing a lot to take care of it. So it's worth doing. It's worth spending the time and the money to take care of yourself. So there we go. Okay, so this is the night of the third day. So I've just had it wrapped up in this gauze wrap for the whole day. Just taking it off so I can check it at night before I go to sleep and then rewrap it. I don't need to change the bandages. I didn't need to change the bandages this morning. So this is the same bandages I put on last night. It's been over 24 hours. And the only thing I've had to do is put down some tape on a few places where it started to come up, because on my elbow it moves a lot. And so it stretches and pulls the edge of the Tegederm off. But so if we take a quick look at it, take a nice close look, we can see that the bandage is actually filled with fluid, a little bit, just a little bit of fluid. But it's not like a blister. It's not totally filled like a balloon, which is what we want. Which is why we waited a few days to put the Tegederm on. So it's turning out really well. This is actually really comfortable, especially when I've got the gauze wrap on. It just feels comfortable. It doesn't hurt at all. You can feel when I move it. I can feel the stress on my skin from the tape, and but I really don't feel that I've got these giant open sores on my arm because the Tegederm is keeping the air off, and it is basically acting like skin. So it actually feels great. Right, so I'm just going to rewrap this now. So you should probably unwrap it and check the bandage a couple times a day, just to make sure that it's not blistering, to make sure that it's not starting to get infected, it's not going red, and just to make sure that the bandage hasn't migrated or anything like that. And also to check for that the edges aren't peeling up, and if you need to tape them down. And then if all goes well, this first Tegederm bandage will be able to go on for 2 more days. So I usually aim for 3 days for the first bandage, and they can stay on for up to 7 days, but they tend not to when the wound is still a little fresher. So there we go. I'm going to just wrap it with my arm completely straight because that's how I want it to be more natural. I want it to be more naturally straight instead of naturally bent, because otherwise, if it's naturally bent, I'm going to lay on it when I sleep, and then it's going to get sprained because I'm going to lay on it. Okay. And there we go. It's very comfortable. It's the end of day 3. Alright, evening of the 4th day. Not a whole lot happened today. I just rewrapped my arm a couple times. The Tegederm is just barely holding on. The one thing I did do is I did upgrade my palm from Band-Aids like this to the Tegederm. I'm hoping it lasts long enough to be worth it, because the Tegederm can sometimes peel and rub off, and I'm hoping that just doesn't happen from me using my hand. But we'll see. I was just having trouble keeping it clean with just a Band-Aid, and this is also a bigger, deeper sore than on my other hand, and it really would benefit a lot from the Tegederm if I can keep it on there. So that's in the 4th day. Hopefully tomorrow this is still on there, and I'll be changing this out tomorrow. And we'll be able to see how much it's... and I'll be changing this out tomorrow, and then we'll be able to see how far it's come along. Alright, so it's the end of day 5. And so the Tegederm on my palm actually only lasted about 18 hours. My hands just sweat too much, so it just fell off after too long. So that's unfortunate, but the time it was on actually did help a bit. It's finally time to change the Tegederm on my arm. So let's see. Let's take a look at how it's coming along. There's also time to change out the gauze wrap. I've been using this same wrap for a couple days as well. So it's got tape over the top of it because of the fact that, like I said, the elbow moves, and so it pulls up the Tegederm, and the tape helps a lot in keeping the corners of the Tegederm down. Ooh, so it's stuck a little there. I doubt it'll be stuck down here, though. amazing. Yeah, it's just stuck on this area up there. Oh my goodness. It feels so good. Be really careful pulling this off here. It's stuck to hair because I couldn't shave directly over the road rash. Oh my goodness! So we see it's looking a lot better already. That's a lot of progress. This looks way better. That's significantly more healed right here. So all I've got to do is I've got to wash it off. So I've got my contact solution to wash. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, it feels like taking a cast off. Oh, and I've got a clean microfiber cloth here. Oh, it just feels amazing. It's been under Tegederm for 3 days. I just want to make sure I get rid of all this junk. That's great. Okay. So it's actually weird when you feel it under the Tegederm. You can feel that these spots where it's white is actually stiffer and less flexible than the areas around it. I don't want to actually touch it when I don't have the Tegederm over it. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So now I'm going to use my my alcohol to really clean the area around it so that the Tegederm will stick again. Oh. Looks like it pulled up a little bit. See, it's bleeding the tiniest bit there. That's fine. That's just a tiny spot. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's good. I'll wipe my hands off as well with the alcohol. Make sure my hands are really clean. Although infection is a lot less of a risk now, because again, this is 5 days in total since it's been cut. So the risk of infection is starting to reduce, I think. But still want to be careful. Oh, yes. So, here we go. I don't know if I want to bother covering this anymore. I think this is pretty much good. So I'm just going to do I'm just going to focus on these deeper ones now. Like that. Oh, come on, come on. Come off. Come off. Yeah, I think this will be fine because this will still be under the gauze. And second bandage. So could I do it like this, like that, or like that? I think if I do it like this, I'll have less on this elbow area. And hopefully it'll peel up less. Okay. Okay, press it down. And then fresh new gauze wrap. There, so these use the tape on the gauze to help me get it started so I don't drop it on the floor again, as I tend to do. There we go. There we go. Oh, and then drop it on the floor anyway. Oh well, it's not a big deal because, like I say, the gauze is less as a sterile bandage in this case and more of just a wrap to keep the Tegederm secured and held down. There we go. Very nice. That'll last me till morning at least. I'll rewrap it again. Oh, it's just felt great to have that bandage off for a bit. So there we go. That's the end of day 5. End of day 5. So hopefully I'll get this bandage to last. See, the Tegederm lasted 3 days before. I'm hoping for maybe 5 days, and then that actually we'll see where we are then. That'll be 10 days from the time of the injury. So maybe at that point, another 5 days. If I'm lucky, I won't even need the Tegederm anymore, and maybe I'll just be able to go without bandages at that point and just let it heal out in the air. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright, here we go. It's the evening of day 6. So, biggest development is I'm no longer wrapping the bandage, the Tegederm on my elbow in gauze. I'll keep doing it at night because I think I'll have a higher chance of rubbing it off at night. Because it's just sticking so much better. It's weeping so much less, and the areas that are weeping are just so much smaller. So it's got so much more area to stick to. They're just staying on so much better. So I'm just going to be using the gauze wrap at night. On this hand here, it's coming along, but I'm just having a ton of trouble getting any bandage to stay on for longer than 4 hours. My hand is just so sweaty. I can get it to stay on at night, but as soon as I get in my car in the mornings, where it's over 100 degrees by the time I get out to work and get in my car, then my hand just starts sweating and it falls off. This one, I think it's also having trouble getting a bandage on it, but it's small enough I think I can just forget about it now. I also had a scrape on my shoulder, just some smaller road rash. I didn't want to bother filming, and the bandage fell off, and now all the junk fell off, and this is just feeling perfectly fine now. So that didn't take very long having it covered properly. That was this morning, so it was basically 5.5 days for that to be healed. These are coming along great. So there we go. It's the end of day 6. So it is the end of day 7, so it's just a couple hours short of being a full week. And this is coming along good. So since this is the week, we'll take a good look at everything. Let's make sure it's in focus for all this. So it's looking really good. It's a firework night tonight, so there's fireworks going on outside. It's got a bunch of crud that's building up along the outside. And that is because the Tegederm is not, I guess you call it vapor-proof. So it's waterproof, but water vapor can still evaporate. So very slowly, as it weeps, it'll deposit crud around the outside. But it still keeps it very moist because it takes a long time to evaporate. it's gotten to the stage where it is extremely itchy all the time. This is itchy here, it's itchy here, it's itchy everywhere, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's really getting on my nerves sometimes. But yeah, this is an advanced state of healing. So pretty soon, the only parts that are not going to be completely healed are the really deep parts where there are more gouges and cuts than a scrape. On my hand, it's coming along very well. This hand, I've actually abandoned the use of Band-Aids because it's very far along, and it's just so hard. It's just not worth wasting more bandages on it because they only last a couple hours at this point. They're just not staying on. This one I'm still keeping bandages on, but I won't have to do that very much longer. You can see the skin has healed and it's making its way towards the center, which is still healing up a little bit. You can see it's about halfway to the center. So probably just a few more days and then I'll have fresh skin there. It is not built up to the same height as the surrounding skin because a lot of the skin I lost when I fell on my palm was callus, which was a huge relief because when I saw how deep it was, I was really worried about this, but I'm pretty sure it was about 3/32 of an inch, and that's pretty deep for an abrasion like that. But thankfully, it's mostly callus, so it didn't turn actually to be that bad. So there we go. That's the look at everything. These are the only two bandages I have left. My knee is the bandage on my knee. Yesterday they took it off my shoulder, so and of course this is coming along really good as well. So there we go. There's the full week recap. Alright, so this is the night of the 8th day, and this is what we're dealing with here. So it's practically healed up with fresh skin all the way to the deep sores, the deep cuts, which are still those white spots. I don't know how healed it is underneath the white stuff, so maybe it's close to healing up, maybe it's not. But I could probably get away with a lot smaller bandages at this point that will just cover those spots instead of these big bandages that have been covering this much larger area. I've moved to a smaller bandage on my hand because they're just so much cheaper, and I just go through them so much on my palm. So this is coming along probably 2 more days of this, and there we go. I think that's everything. That's all the updates for day 8. Alright, here at the end of day 9. So I've changed the bandage because it was just so itchy, and I was able to dab it clean just with the wet washcloth, and that's made it so much better. Still is a bit itchy though, just from the nature of it. Miraculously, this bandage is still on. So this has been, I think I had it on last night, so it was 24 hours, pretty sure. So I'm not going to ruin a good thing by taking it off to check how it's doing. Also, I should mention that I haven't been wrapping this in gauze at night for a few days, just because it's once I figured it's been sticking all right, I just stopped that. Anyway, it's coming along. You can see hopefully a little bit clearer now. You can see there's some fluid, but it hasn't started to dry out and crust up yet. So there we go, day 9. Alright, this is the end of day 10. So, I don't know what a lot to say. It's changing very slowly for me, so I'm guessing you're going to see the changes a lot easier than I can, but this one feels pretty good. And the white spots are itchy. Everything else is fine. This one in particular is itching all the time. My palm, right here. So my palm is coming along really well. This is just made a ton of progress the past couple days, and I think I'm going to be able to go without a bandage in just maybe 2 more days. Well, I could probably go without a bandage right now if I needed to. It's still it's still very sensitive and bruised underneath. This is the one that hasn't had the bandage on it, and you can see it hasn't changed a ton since I took the bandage off compared to this one, which has just continued to progress a lot faster. So there we go, end of day 10, and we'll see what tomorrow looks like. This is end of day 11, so you can see on this one right here, the white spot is basically starting to go away. These ones are very small, and the pink area is getting smaller as well. So it looks very good. For this right here, whenever the Tegederm's ready to fall off, I think that's it. On this one, on my palm, this is my palm, and it's looking really good. It's all skin basically now, and it's coming along really good. I could go without bandages at any time, but I'm going to keep wearing a band-aid on it just because of the fact that there was a reason why there was callus there. It's because my palm can see a bunch of abuse, and I just don't want to accidentally scrape, my palm against something or rub it on something too hard, because the skin is still pretty sensitive there. So I'm going to keep a bandage on it, but not necessarily to keep it sterile or to keep it moist. It's more just so that I don't accidentally do anything to it, because it's just sensitive. So there we go. End of day 11. Alright, so it's day 13, and this is how this is coming along. You can see there's no white spot, there's no more open sore. It is all now skin of various stages. Here we do have the two small white spots. This one is starting to dry out, and this one's still a little wet. When they're starting to dry out, that must mean that there's not any weeping at all happening, which means that it's healing really good. Here's my palm. It's a different color. It's more white than it was yesterday because I've had the bandage on it more recently. You see the very center still has that slightly white tinge to it. And that is the only spot where there's any soreness left. This light pink stuff is all fresh skin. It just doesn't have the same tone developed yet, but it is very much skin all the way up to that very center, which is still skin. So there we go, day 13. Just one more day for a full week, and I think that'll wrap it up for daily updates at least. Alright, so it is day 15. I've skipped day 14 because I was out camping and didn't get a chance to film. But you can see the bandage is off, and that is because it was a big long hike and actually just sweated all the bandages right off my skin. So these have been actually in the open air for all day today and part of yesterday. So you can see on my elbow, most of the areas have completely healed up. There's very little still left. Just got those 3 little spots, and I'll be covering those up with bandages again. On my palm, it's looking even better, but since it's been dry for so long being out, you can start to see in the middle where it is actually not healed. And you can see it even more on my left hand, which has had no bandage for even longer. So I'm thinking it might be nice to even put a bandage at night on my hands, on both my hands, because bandages will stay on at night. It's really during the day that I have trouble keeping them on. So there we go, day 15, and there we go. So it's day 17, and the bandages have not been staying on anymore at all. So this is kind of what I've got. I just got to deal with these scabs, which I think is less ideal, but I don't think it matters nearly as much at this point. You can see everything that was scraped up is now skin, except for just these really deep gouge spots, which, what are you going to do about that? Here, which was healed way back, is now skin colored again. It's started to get the tan even. Here, it's just all skin up until the little scabs, which is pretty cool because it was a significant area that was scraped off. Here's, it doesn't even feel bruised anymore or anything. And even though I actually do have, my elbow is actually bruised still, right there. So there we go. Day 17, or whatever it is now. Right, so it's day 23. And so I've just got these couple tiny little scabs left. It's still very red on this part, but it's not, I'm not sure what's up with that. It's still red, but there's no open sore anymore. And then of course on my palm, it is a little more sensitive still, but it's getting there pretty good. So there we go. Day 23. Alright, so it's day 28. You can see the scabs have all fallen off, so it's just kind of flaky skin around it. My palm looks almost good as new. It is still sensitive. If I rub it on something like a rock or something, I'd feel that for sure. This side's way better. But yeah, there we go. Maybe just one more update and maybe another week. And I think that'll be it. So, looking good. This is the final update. This is 38 days, which is just over 5 weeks. So you can see all the skin in the whole surrounding area that was all messed up is all perfectly fine now. Only the deep spots show any signs of having had any problems. So they're still not completely healed. I can feel it's tough scar tissue right now. I don't think I get the best circulation on my elbow, so I think cuts are just taking longer to heal around this area. Whereas my hand, let's see, my hand, if I move over here, there we go. My hands get better circulation, I think. And so this is actually very much healed. It's just lacking some callus. And this other palm here is 100%. It's just lacking just the exact color match. So there we go. That is 5 weeks after the accident. So hopefully you learned something, and next time you have an accident and get some road rash, you're able to take care of it properly and get back to it a lot faster because you're able to take care of it right. So there we go. Longboard technology over and out.